Have you ever sat alone at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why, no matter how kind, respectful, or generous you are, she still chose him? The guy who ignored her texts, the guy who made her cry, the guy who didn't even try. It doesn't make sense. Does it? You did everything right. You held the door. You listened to her problems. You told her she was beautiful even when she didn't believe it. You waited, you hoped, you gave, and she left. Welcome to the harsh truth they never taught you. Women don't want nice guys. They want something else, something darker, something more ancient. This is not a pickup video. This is not about manipulation. This is about reality. And what I'm about to tell you may disturb you. But if you stay until the end, it could change your life. Subscribe if you're ready to unplug, to awaken, to become dangerous, not reckless, not abusive, but powerful, controlled, focused. Because the world doesn't respect the soft anymore. It chews them up and forgets their names. Now let's begin. There's a story we're all fed from the time we're boys. Be nice, be gentle, be available, be vulnerable. And one day, the right girl will see your heart and love you for who you are. But this isn't a fairy tale. This is a battlefield. In nature, the peacock doesn't get chosen because he's nice. He gets chosen because his feathers demand attention. The lion isn't king because he says sorry when he bites. He's king because he dominates. And in the modern world, this primal law still applies. It's coded into biology, into psychology, into the hypergamous instinct, a survival mechanism that drives women to seek strength, protection, leadership, and certainty in a man. Not comfort, not predictability, not weakness wrapped in kindness. The nice guy confuses politeness with value. He thinks that being agreeable will make him lovable. But in her eyes, he's just another safe bet, forgettable, replaceable, invisible. Because niceness without power is just submission. And women are not attracted to submission. They're biologically wired to test for strength, emotional, physical, psychological. If you fold under pressure, apologize for who you are, or wait on the sidelines like a backup plan, you fail that test. Women will never tell you this, not directly, because the truth would ruin the script. But she tests you. She cancels last minute. She makes you wait. She flirts with another guy in front of you. She picks a fight over nothing, not because she wants drama, but because she needs to feel something. She's unconsciously checking. Is this man grounded? Does he bend? Does he lose frame? These are not games, they're instincts. And if you fail to understand them, you'll keep thinking something's wrong with you, when what's really wrong is the version of masculinity you've been sold. You were taught to be nice. She was wired to crave power. The disconnect is where heartbreak is born. Because when you fail her tests, she doesn't even know why she's losing attraction. She just feels it. Her biology speaks before her mind does. But when you pass her tests, when you stay unshaken, calm, dominant, but not controlling, something awakens inside her. Respect, safety, polarity, desire. Not the kind of desire that fades after a few compliments, but the kind that lingers in her mind long after you've left the room. But here's the real problem. Most men today aren't built to pass these tests anymore. Society has softened them. Porn has numbed their instincts. Social media has drained their attention. Comfort has killed their discipline. And the modern world encourages them to seek validation instead of conquest. The average guy today spends more time scrolling than sharpening. He's addicted to dopamine, to distraction, to the illusion of connection. But he doesn't own his space. He doesn't know silence. He doesn't know the weight of solitude. He doesn't train. He doesn't hunt. He doesn't build. And so, she doesn't feel anything around him. And when she doesn't feel, she leaves. She's not cruel. She's reacting to what's missing. The fire, the frame, the mystery. The man who doesn't need her but chooses her. because that's what really draws her in. Not the man who begs for a chance, but the man who creates options by who he is. So what do you do when the world rejects your kindness and rewards your apathy? You go ghost. You vanish from the circus of weak men chasing likes and half-hearted love. You disappear from the places where you're undervalued. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't understand your silence. And in that silence, you build. You stop being the nice guy. Not because you turn evil, but because you wake up. You embrace your darker edge. You stop seeking approval. You start living with intention. They'll call you selfish. Let them. They'll say you've changed. Good. They'll say you've become cold. That means you've stopped burning yourself just to keep others warm. You become the villain in their story, so you can be the hero in your own. Because the man she truly wants is not the one who pleases everyone. It's the one who commands himself, the one who doesn't fold under pressure, the one who walks away when his value isn't recognized. And when you become that man, something strange happens. She comes back. When she comes back, it's not because you sent the perfect text. It's because you became unavailable. You became rare. You stopped orbiting her universe and built your own. And the truth is, women feel the difference. They can sense when a man is living with purpose, when he's moving towards something higher than lust or loneliness, when his silence has weight, when his boundaries aren't negotiable, when his eyes aren't looking for approval, but scanning the world like a king mapping his territory. This is masculinity reborn, not the toxic version society loves to mock, but the stoic fire forged in solitude. The kind that says little, but commands everything. The kind of masculinity that doesn't break when life tests it, that stands still when chaos rages, that doesn't flinch when she pulls away, but simply watches with calm indifference, knowing that what is meant will return, and what isn't has no power here. Here's where most men fail, even the so-called alpha ones. They think it's all about money, muscle, or status. It's not. Those are tools. But they mean nothing if your energy leaks through your habits, if you chase pleasure instead of purpose, if you worship women more than you worship God. This is the deeper war, spiritual masculinity. True masculine energy is sacred. It was never meant to be wasted on random flings, digital fantasies, or cheap dopamine hits. That energy is supposed to be transmuted, channeled into vision, into mission, into self-mastery, retention, discipline, sacrifice. The ancient warriors knew this. Monks practiced it. Prophets embodied it. Even Christ, the highest example of masculine strength wrapped in divine humility, walked alone in the desert for 40 days, not for fun, but for alignment. You're not supposed to be numb. You're supposed to feel, but only so you can transcend. Because a man who conquers his lower nature becomes untouchable. And when a woman meets that man, she senses something different, something spiritual. Not just attraction, but reverence. Not just lust, but submission to his presence. Because that man feels like purpose. Let's not sugarcoat it. Dating in 2025 is a battlefield littered with broken trust, blurred roles, and weaponized emotions. Women are praised for independence. Men are shamed for leadership. Hookups are glorified. Loyalty is mocked. Everyone's guarded. No one trusts, but everyone's watching, quietly, hungrily, for someone real. That's why you must stop playing the game. Step out of the algorithm of validation. Stop being predictable. Stop chasing, and start observing. When you stop reacting, you begin to see. You see the red flags. The narcissism masked as confidence, the validation addiction masked as empowerment, the entitlement hidden behind standards. Not all women, but many have been taught to expect the world without giving anything in return. And if you're the nice guy hoping that giving more will earn her love, you will be used, drained, and discarded. The truth is, she doesn't need you to be nicer. She needs you to be sharper. She needs you to be the mirror, the standard. The filter that says, if you want access to my world, you rise to it. That's not arrogance. That's sovereignty. Every great man has a moment when he looks in the mirror and says, no more. No more begging. No more chasing. No more giving energy to those who don't see it. No more wasting days on distractions and nights on screens. Just fire. Just focus. Just a relentless rebuild. It won't be loud. It won't be pretty. But it will be real. You'll disappear for months. People will wonder where you went. She might too. Let them. You're writing your comeback arc. Your body changes. Your mind sharpens. You stop saying yes out of guilt. You stop sharing your dreams with people who mock them. You start walking into rooms like you belong, even if no one claps. That's what she wanted all along. Not the man who waited, but the man who evolved. Because when you become the man you're meant to be, her love becomes a reward, not a rescue. So let's say it clearly. She doesn't want nice. She wants power under control. She wants fire with direction. She wants to feel your weight, not on her shoulders, but in the room, in your words, in your stillness. She wants a man who leads without asking, who protects without suffocating, who commands without shouting. She wants a man who can say no, who can walk away, who doesn't flinch when tested, who holds frame not to impress her, but because he can't be broken. That's not toxic masculinity. That's truthful masculinity. And it's time to bring it back. So, who are you becoming? The nice guy who waits to be chosen, or the man who chooses himself, and in doing so, becomes unignorable? Because once you wake up, once you reclaim your edge, once you stop apologizing for your power, you'll realize it was never about being liked. It was about being respected. And when you earn that, everything changes.